Hello everyone, my name is DanielDTX and welcome back to a new video and welcome back to DTX Talks. DTX Talks is where I talk because I'm DTX and I'm dog. Yeah, okay. I have been thinking about what could I talk about, right? Because there's many things I do want to talk about, but I don't want to like have everything in one episode, you know what I mean? That's why I've tried to have it like a 3 to 4 maximum, like different things, but not too far away, you know what I mean? Topics, that is. You know, I felt like that I've been using the episodes in a great way to kind of lighten up my opinions. My wordings are maybe not the best, you know, but I'm trying to get to the point eventually. But that's something I know I'm not the best at, and I'm not the best at getting to the to the point in a fashion that maybe is more normal for others and more expected and stuff like that. But hey, I'm me. That is something I cannot change, and I will not change. So I'm gonna be talking a little bit in a weird way, okay? Because that's what makes me me. Simple as that, okay? But to the point of today's video anyway is that I want to talk about the whys. Right? There's so many whys. Like and one thing about finding the whys is starting to figure out, you know, why the why. Why do you need the why? You know what I mean? Okay. If I the thing is, okay, let me put it this way. I have done esports and starting up organizations and done that for a couple of years. None of them has been successful. They all have their own story per se, but I haven't really executed in a way that hey, I can live with this and you know, this is something that I can represent and I can be proud of, and you know, it has a name that people know about, because no, that has never happened. I eventually found my why I needed to stop doing that. And that is one, I do something on repeat and expected different results, and I expect me to be better at things, but I can't be. And that is fine. Like if you are doing something and you're building something from scratch, it is expected that you're not gonna make it immediately. Hell, it may take some time, and hell, it may take some money, and it may take some you know, steps forward that you didn't expect to take per se. But for me, I started something and then it lasted for a couple months. I think one period it had lasted for like a half a year and over half a year, which in a long-term perspective, it is nothing, right? It is like that is what you call the great beginning per se. Like that's what you, when you start really digging into what type of organization you want to be, right? That is that time. But I used it as promoting it in a very bad fashion, in a very stressful fashion, and I didn't really have anything clear. I found my why I wanted to do it, right? Like why I wanted to make an organization, but I could never execute the whys. I think I also realized at some point that my whys were too high. Okay? If you expect too much and you get nothing in return, brother, bro, don't do it, because you're gonna bury yourself into a pool of self-doubt, anger, and depression. And that is what kind of stirred. I made a stew. You know, when I started and quit, like I made like many types of organizations and found new whys, and I thought that was it. But all in all, I made a fucking stew. I made a stew, brother. I made a stew of failed attempts and tried again and new things and yada yada yada. Like, I could never get to the point where, oh, I made a meal out of this. No, it was just a stew that was like, I was staring around, you know? And it never came to a conclusion of like, okay, this is it. I thought it did many times, you know? But no, it didn't, okay? And none of these organizations is famous for anything. Even though I feel like I made something, right? Even though I never made it to somewhere, I felt like, okay, I'm glad I kind of did this, even though I failed. And even though okay, I don't really have a specific number on how many times I started and quit an organization or like organizations. But I reckon it's like, you know, multiple dozens. No kidding. No kidding. There's multiple dozens of attempts here and there in different ways and new names and you know, trying new positionings and all that. Brother, I went in a realm of a very toxic relationship with myself. That is what I ended up with. But how do I go from that I did esport like 8 years, brother, on the same kind of, in the quotation mark, same attempt of creating something, right? But I eventually found my why because I needed to. I needed to find my why. I need to stop this. Finally put an end to this because it was a toxic relationship with myself that I couldn't get out of. And just realizing that, okay, I really don't need to go over this again. I need to find something that I can do that makes me happy and makes me like, I'm not looking for any specific thing, right? I want to make the name. Not my name, but the name. Like, that's why I did organization, is because I wanted to make that name something. I have never cared about my status. And I still don't do. Like, I make YouTube videos now because I realize that I love to talk and I love to game and I love to do things. I love to, you know, do everything, and I want to have like an audience that I can, you know, be a part of. Like, I always wanted to be a part of something, right? That's why I did organizations, because I wanted to be a part of that community. You know what I mean? And here with the YouTube and Twitch streaming and all that, it's like, I want to be a part of my own thing and make the name out of, like, make the name of that specific thing. Like, if it's an organization, or if it's the community, or if it's this YouTube channel, or if it's a stream, you know what I mean? Like, my name, it does matter, right? I have to be honest with myself. It does really matter. But what matters for my own pushing is pushing the right thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to push my own name. This is getting complicated again. But what I'm trying to say is that I want to push a YouTube channel, right? Because I love to do this. I finally found something that I could do on a regular basis that makes me happy and makes me content. That I feel like I can actually do something that may go somewhere. You know what I mean? Even though I don't care about my own name, I care about pushing the channel into something. The DTX, DanielDTX, you know? Because that is the YouTube channel's name. That is not my name. My name is not DanielDTX, like DTX is not part of my legal name. Daniel is though. But you know what I mean? Like, when I try to, for example, we can talk about the E6 Esport, this organization I ran last, and it had multiple attempts, even that. Like I would say 5 attempts. Starting in 2022, then 2023 because 2022 didn't work. Then 2024, it actually ran for 6 months, I would say, ish. But it never went, like, it didn't went the way that I, visualized, because I burnt myself out on stupid things, right? I'm not going to go into fully details. I will have a specific episode where I talk more about in-depth things about my whole esport journey. But I'm just trying to line up the key points here that it hasn't been the easiest way because I have done things in a very stupid fashion. Let me just say it like that. Anyways, when all comes to all, right, you're trying to do something that you can live with and that makes you happy, because you don't want to do things that is like, why do I do this? That's not the why I'm looking for, right? Why, like, in a negative way, in a positive way, and an intriguing way. I'm looking for that. Why do I do this? But not why do I do this? It's like, the tone difference between that. Like, why do I do this? Like, what is the point, bro? Like, that is when you have to realize that maybe you should stop. Maybe you should take a break. Even take a perspective viewpoint on things, right? Finding out the why. But if it's like dragging you down, then you should maybe take a break. Realize it. That, okay, maybe I need to have another perspective of things, right? Even asking other people around you, or, third parties that don't know anything about what are you doing, just say what is that you're struggling with, and maybe there is an other opinion that may be a better solution for that, or you, or whatever. Try to find ways of finding the whys, finding out why do I need a break, right? Am I burned out, or do I just need the perspective, right? It may not work for everyone, and it may not be the best tips that I'm giving, but at least it has come to my conclusion when I've done things on repeat that, okay, I need to chill, all right? That is what I ended up with. Even though I still to this day love esport, I don't really follow along with a lot of esport, right? But I'm interested in Valorant esports, and I'm semi-interested in CS esports still. It's just that I wanted to make a name of an organization that it could be on the, like Astralis or Ninjas in Pajamas or Fnatic, right? You have many like famous names. That is one of those things that I wanted to deliver. You know what I mean? Have players representing a name that I created, and that I could be successful in that. And you realize now that is impossible. Never say that, by the way. Don't say that, oh, it's impossible, right? Because then it is impossible. However, to my point, I will say it is impossible of me making a organizational name famous and being on the scene, pro scene, tier 1, because it is. I'm a realistic person on my own, on my own, limits. And I don't think that in the same level I would return in a position where I do this again. Maybe I eventually find something in a organization that I want to do or test out, or try out as a role that is either new or managing, or even a player. Because I do want to be involved in a esport organization, but I don't necessarily need to make it myself, and I don't need to necessarily go through the whole thing that I did before, just because I want to prove something for myself. And that, proving something to myself and proving to others. I don't and have never wanted to prove myself for anyone else. Like, I have nothing to prove. Maybe I've been cheeky about some things, right? That I've been seeing myself being up there, pretended to be someone that I'm not. But all in all, I want to prove myself that I can be a better person, that I can do new things, finding the whys for why I'm doing things in general. Why did I start the YouTube channel, right? Why did I decide to have a video every single day in 2026? Sometimes you don't need to have the full answer right away. Maybe sometimes allow yourself getting the answers throughout the road that you've taken. Allow yourself doing that. Because you will see so many new things and new perspectives that you may see that as a gift, right? So start maybe looking at things in a larger perspective. Maybe start there. And then you'll figure out something that, oh wow, this is the why. And wow, I'm doing this because this is the right thing to do for me. Point is that everyone has their own limits. Everyone has their own kind of a breaking point. And everyone has different energy. Like different visions, different, I would say, different perspectivists. That is not the word, is it? I think you know what I'm trying to say. If you don't, then please comment in the comment section, and I will try to explain the best out of it. It's not everything is so easy to explain. You know what I mean? But yeah, all in all, it is finding the whys, and it might be the most hardest thing to do, no matter who you are, no matter what you are going through in your own terms. Even though we are all different, it may be the same kind of cliche thing that we are all struggling with sometimes here and there. Take a little deep dig down. Figure out. Not easy, not fun to be told, but I will say that it is worth it. It is actually worth going through. The like researching on your own things. Research yourself, right? Try it. Because if you allow yourself like an hour or 30 minutes, it can be 5 minutes, where you are like taking a little break from whatever you do and just try to research yourself. Just close your eyes, boom. What the hell am I doing? You know? Then you will gradually find answers, right? And so I recommend you to just try to disconnect from whatever you do to figure out the why you're doing it. Okay? I mean, it is never a simple way to explain something that is complicated. That is a big realization moment, because it's really not. It's really not easy. Okay, we have to start somewhere, and you have to try something, and you have to kind of allow yourself to go out of that comfort zone, or place where you do feel kind of stuck in, because you cannot find a why. I promise you one thing. If you find your whys, you will become a different person. And you have to allow that person to shine. Okay? It can be a whole new lifestyle, even. There could be a new perspective on things you didn't really realize that you needed a new perspective of. So, yeah, just think of new ways. Think of yourself and what you can bring to the table. But figure out the why first. It's ultra important. And then you might come to a it's like you fall asleep that night, and then you wake up feeling like a whole new person, and it may even feel like you're in a new place, even though you wake up in the same place as you woke up yesterday. So it is a weird feeling, and I do know that it is different for everyone, right? Whatever I say may not affect you in the same way that affects me or your neighbor. But at least allow yourself to kind of figure out things in a different way that you may not have thought about before now, because I'm talking about it. And if you're here now listening to me still, brother, I appreciate you. Press the like button. If you're on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, please leave me a review. And all that. Please do come with the comments though. And I like to kind of connect with people as well. Like, that is one of my whys of doing YouTube and doing this podcast and in general, because I want to be a part of that community myself, where in a position where I'm not only the host, but I'm also a part of the community, and kind of being with whoever views my videos or listening to my podcast or whatever it is that I can connect with. And I want to make that bond. You know what I mean? And so whatever you're commenting, it really gives me a feedback in a way, right? So and please do know that you are worth it. Whatever you go through, I know this sounds very random right now, but like, I'm just saying, whatever you go through, if you go through something, you will make through it. You'll go through it, whatever. Both ways, you know what I mean? You're worth it. You will go through it, whatever you go through, and you're here on your own story, and you're the most important person in your life. Remember that, because I feel like that is something very easy to forget about. You are truly the most important person in your own life, because guess who is gonna live your life? Well, it's you. So you better block away the negativity and just focus on whatever you want to do. Have fun living life. Live life. And have fun. I hope you enjoyed today's video or podcast, whatever you want to call it. DTX Talks. I'm talking. And I hope I see you in the next video, podcasts, shorts, whatever you want to watch. And I hope I see you in the next video, whatever that is. Take care. Bye-bye.